Interesting that you say nobody's getting caught up, because Abrego Garcia was caught up by getting sent to a foreign gulag in El Salvador when the Trump administration itself conceded that it was an administrative error. And so the Supreme Court, this 6-3 conservative Supreme Court, and a court that is so extreme, we've never seen a court this far right in our lifetimes, ruled 9-0 unanimously that he had to be sent back. So to claim that no one is getting caught up in this system when that is exactly what's happening and it's being litigated at the highest levels of the judiciary is pretty bad faith here.
Tomi?
Oh, I can't wait to respond to that. So this person that was caught up, the so-called Maryland father that y'all like to talk about, it's not that he was caught up because he was a legal citizen or because he wasn't gang affiliated. It was an administrative error talking about the flight itself, okay? So it's not as if, and it actually really bothers me when those on the left say that there are just average Americans being swept up because they have a funny-looking tattoo.
Tomi Lahren completely destroys Brian Tyler Cohen on Elex Michelson show. Is that what this is? The issue is with Elex Michelson. Well, they're on this show. And of course, Brian Tyler Cohen comes all up in here with his stupid talking points, his stupid due process for illegal immigrants talking points that these Democrats love to yell and scream about. And Tomi Lahren, obviously not having it, completely sets him straight, making him look like an absolute jackass. Let's see how this debate between Tomi Lahren and Brian Tyler Cohen goes down.
Other countries, Wall Street seemed to like that. We've seen huge swings in the stock market. Tomi, what do you think of the president's trade policy?
Listen, this is the art of the deal at its best, and I understand that there was some volatility on Wall Street, and that's understandable, and I don't ever want to downplay anybody's concerns when it comes to their finances, their 401k, their retirement. I completely understand the anxiety there, but what President Trump has said, and I believe, is this is less about Wall Street and more about Main Street, and what you're also seeing is this president in action. He's managed to, in a couple of days' time, isolate China from the rest of the world, put them in their place. He's got that 90-day pause. Other countries coming to the table, 70 plus, lining up to make deals with this president. So I'm incredibly happy to see this thing play out. I understand the anxiety. I trust the process. I trust this president. And I think that we're off to the races.
Brian, do you trust this president?
I don't think that I trust the president any more than most of the country trust the president on the economy right now. The reality is that this is an economic calamity that he has ushered in, and he's done it unilaterally and voluntarily. If we actually do descend into a full-blown recession, which most people, most economists are predicting that we will right now, it'll be the first time that it's done at the hands of an American president for, completely unforced as an error, a completely unforced error. The reality is that the stock market is tanking. All of our indexes are in correction territory. If a Democratic president did this, Tomi would be apoplectic at the ruin that has been ushered in. And the only time there was some momentary reprieve in the stock market is when Donald Trump himself caved on his own policy. And finally, Tomi, you had mentioned that we're isolating China on the world stage. There's reporting now that Japan and South Korea are negotiating trade deals with China to go around American tariffs. There's reporting that the EU is working with China to eliminate those tariffs for EVs. So I'm concerned that you're not familiar with which country, in fact, is actually being isolated on the world stage. It doesn't look like it's China.
China needs us far more than we need China, as goes for the rest of the world. I understand the global economy, and I understand the anxiety here and the market reacting to it, but it's pretty simple. The way things were going was unsustainable. This president understands that. So that's why he was elected in many ways, for total upheaval. The Democrats are the party of the status quo. Keep everything the same, simply just grow government, have more government jobs. This president doesn't see it that way. He believes in America, and he believes in the American people. Not only does he want to bring industry and business back to this country, good paying jobs for hardworking blue-collar Americans, but he also understands that he is in a position uniquely to negotiate with the rest of the world, including China. This president is not inflexible. He said he's willing to make deals. He's welcoming these other countries to make deals. But I would say trust the American people, trust America. American industry and understand that the way things have been going for the last 4+ years was not sustainable. Somebody had to do it. This president is willing to take the political risk to do it, and he believes in the process. He believes in the American people. He believes in the hardworking Americans that the Democrats would do well to understand they are hemorrhaging. Continue to go to bat for China and Wall Street. I think this president's fighting for the American people, and he's going to win big time because of it.
Tommy, one of your
You know, it's funny because they always like look to us like they're always like, well, if the Democrats would have done this, you guys would have slammed it. Okay. I mean, the Democrats did do it, and you guys didn't slam it at all. In fact, you guys played defense for the Democrats. And then when inflation went up due to Joe Biden's decisions, you guys weren't there. You guys were quiet about the economy. You guys were quiet, and you go, no, it's going to be fine. Trust us, bro. And then when the inflation did rise, then you guys made excuses. Well, it's actually the corporations. Actually, the corporations are the ones to blame. They're the ones that are just raising the prices on everybody. And the only reason you care about any of this stuff now is because, well, it's our side that's in charge, and you want us to fail. Well, you want this country to fail because you want to show that, well, see, we told you about Donald Trump, because you guys have, frankly, just been wrong about everything else. And you guys are embarrassed because you lost in November because you guys suck.
great strengths is that you are connected to so many people in the middle of the country who are hardworking, blue-collar type people. A lot of them voted for Donald Trump because they expected prices to go down. Are you concerned that a lot of President Trump's base is now going to see their own prices go up and they can't afford that?
Listen, I think we've seen from the report that not only is inflation cooling and the consumer price index has been favorable to this president. Again, the egg prices that they wanted to go down within the first day of the inauguration, those egg prices are down. Oil is down, so your gas prices are going to go down. That's going to fuel the economy in great and wonderful ways. I understand that anytime you make a dramatic transition, the markets are going to react to that. There is a nature of unpredictability. But I would say trust the process, trust this president, and you know what, Alex? If this doesn't work out in 6 months to a year, have us back on. I will eat crow. But for right now, I'm betting on the negotiator in chief. I believe he's bringing these countries to the table. He's the president of the United States. This country is the most powerful economy in the world. And it's about time that we get some fair and better trade deals for the United States and the American people.
And
that's what this president's doing.
And Brian, I mean, Tommy talks about this, but policies like NAFTA, a lot of folks in the middle of the country felt really hurt them, really hurt manufacturing and did not help them, even though it made Wall Street richer. What about those folks?
The reality is that if the economy is cratering, which Donald Trump is ushering right now, that's not going to help anybody. It's not going to help those folks in the middle of the country. It's not going to help the folks who are looking to reshore jobs back in the United States. The market is looking for one thing, and that is, first of all, stability and a good faith negotiating partner. Donald Trump has proven that he is neither one of those things, which, by the way, is why foreign countries are dumping American bonds right now. And so that shows that no one is willing to invest in the United States across the world because they see that there is no stability in this country. And we talk about our trading partners. We've shown nothing but hostility to our trading partners. We've shown nothing but hostility to Mexico, to Canada. And so are these people going to be more likely to invest in the United States, more likely to get into business with Donald Trump, or less likely? We like to think of ourselves as this global behemoth that's beyond the reach of all of these other foreign countries, but we live in a globalized economy right now. And the fact is that we're not going to be able to do a lot of what we rely on other countries to do right here in the United States. We rely on a global economy. And right now, Donald Trump is doing nothing but making it more difficult for us to be able to negotiate those deals. And if he's tanking the economy in the meantime, that's not going to help anybody, whether they're in the middle of the country or on the coast of the country, whether they're Democrats or Republicans.
We're talking.
Yeah, we are in a global market economy. And guess what? We're the #1 market. So we have all the leverage. What Donald Trump is basically doing is treating America like what it is and the #1 country in the world. Pretty much, it's like we're getting our confidence back as a country. And yes, of course, they're going to be hostile if they've been. Of course, they're going to be hostile toward us if we've been giving, and giving them, and they're only giving a little bit back. But they're gaining more from us than we are of them. And then we say, yeah, no more. Listen, we're going to stand up for ourselves and actually ask for more in return. Yeah, of course, countries are going to be a little bit hostile toward that. Who wouldn't be? But at the end of the day, Donald Trump is trying to make America great again. And that's all he's doing. He's just recognizing us for what we are and treating ourselves like what we are. He's making America feel beautiful again.
Talking with Tomi Lahren on the right, Brian Tyler Cohen on the left. Let's talk about immigration now. We have seen a massive drop-off in illegal border crossings after President Trump has really cracked down in immigration. Biggest changes probably of anything he's done from the Biden administration. There are also a series of lawsuits, though, claiming that the administration is rushing to deport people who legally have a right to be here. The administration admitting, at least in one instance, they did make a mistake. Tomi, this is your issue. What do you make of President Trump's approach to immigration? And what do you say to critics who feel like he's rushing it and some people are getting caught up in the middle who shouldn't?
Well, listen, if you're an illegal alien, you have no legal right to be in this country, so you're not getting caught up in anything. I would just say that. I can't wait to talk about the so-called administrative error, and I can't wait to listen to Brian Tyler Cohen defend criminal illegal aliens. That's a wonderful hill for Democrats to die on. I encourage you to continue doing that. But I'll tell you this. President Biden said it couldn't be done. He said you cannot secure the border without the bipartisan border bill. Well, I guess that was a lie, just like everything else they fed to us during those 4 years where we essentially had a vegetable in office. It can be done. President Trump has managed to do it in less than 3 months. When you had border crossings, thousands a day, and now you're down to about a handful of gotaways, if that, I think this is an incredible success. Not only are we deporting criminal illegal aliens, we're keeping people from coming into this country illegally so we don't have to deal with the problem of deporting criminal illegal aliens 5-10 years down the road. This is an incredible success. President Trump has been able to do it in rapid speed, and there's nobody getting caught up that has a legal right to be here. You come into this country illegally, you are up for deportation. That might make Democrats mad, but I think that most of us on the right and the country that voted for this are quite happy with what's going on.
Brian, what's wrong with that?
It's interesting that you say nobody's getting caught up, because Abrego Garcia was caught up by getting sent to a foreign gulag in El Salvador when the Trump administration itself conceded that it was an administrative error. And so the Supreme Court, this 6-3 conservative Supreme Court, and a court that is so extreme, we've never seen a court this far right in our lifetimes, ruled 9-0 unanimously that he had to be sent back. So to claim that no one is getting caught up in this system when that is exactly what's happening and it's being litigated at the highest levels of the judiciary is pretty bad faith here.
Tomi?
Oh, I can't wait to respond to that. So this person that was caught up, the so-called Maryland father that y'all like to talk about, it's not that he was caught up because he was a legal citizen or because he wasn't gang affiliated. It was an administrative error talking about the flight itself, okay? So it's not as if, and it actually really bothers me when those on the left say that there are just average Americans being swept up because they have a funny-looking tattoo. That's not the reality. In fact, that is a lie. And it's really unfortunate that that's the narrative the left has to go with here. I understand that there is due process, but I think you understand, Brian Tyler Cohen, that there is a different set of rules for due process for people who have no legal right to be in this country, and especially when your own county has said that you are gang affiliated. That wasn't President Trump that said it. That was the Prince George County that said that this was a gang affiliated person. So if you're going to talk about people getting swept up, at least have your facts correct. This irritates me to no end.
I think it's funny that the Democrats are all about due process, my due process. Oh, but these people here, they could not follow the laws and break into our country and not follow the laws when it comes to that, not follow the process of becoming a legal citizen. Oh, but when it comes to getting them out, now they want to follow a process. We have to go by a process to get them out of here, but they don't have to go through a process to be in here. It's funny how that works out. It's funny how these Democrats will do anything, go to great lengths to support people who don't belong here. I want to point out again, they want due process for all the millions of people crossed our borders illegally. So they want court dates for all of those people? That's going to take forever. We don't have that amount of time.
To the bigger point of all of this, despite some of these cases, is there value in what the president is doing? I mean, we have seen these border crossings go way, way down.
I'll certainly concede that Joe Biden could have done more and should have done more to take control of what was happening at the border. And in fact, his unwillingness to do that is largely what created the political environment for Trump to be able to exploit a lot of the pain that Americans were feeling as it relates to immigration.
This is what a stupid jackass narrative. This is not the first time I've heard this jackassery. I've heard it somewhere else. Leftists, the biggest reasons why it's bad that Joe Biden didn't do much more in this or in that situation, it's not because of the morality of it all or even the legality. Well, it's because it's going to make Donald Trump look better. It's going to feed his rhetoric. I forgot what other show I was watching, but it was the same rhetoric where the worst thing about this was that it fed into Donald Trump's rhetoric, and that's what caused us to lose in November. It's like, no, I think the worst thing about all this illegal immigration was the illegal immigration itself that led to all this criminal activity, that led to people dying, people being murdered. I think that's the worst thing, in my opinion, about Joe Biden's lack of effort to stop this stuff. And by the way, all the Brian Tyler Cohens out there, they weren't stepping up and saying, hey, Joe Biden, you need to stop this. They weren't stopping that. They weren't stepping up and saying that at all. They like this stuff. But now they're all coming out and saying, well, no, yeah, he should have done more to.
But that's still no excuse for Donald Trump to engage in this lawless deportation effort for people who haven't had due process to the point where the courts had to step in. I know that you're trying to make some weird distinction between due process rights for people who are Americans or legal residents, as was the case with Abrego Garcia. But the Constitution says that if you are here, you are entitled to due process. And that is not what these people are getting. That is why the courts had to order them sent back. That's why the courts had to order the planes get turned around. And of course, the Trump administration opted to defy it. Not before we have folks like J.D. Vance who came on Twitter trying to beat his chest about how great it was that these people were deported. And how no court would push back on this when the Supreme Court and all the federal judiciary is doing exactly that. But the reality is that these people are entitled to due process. And if you believe
these people are not entitled to anything from us, we're entitled to not have our country invaded by foreigners.
Even what you're saying, which presumably the Trump administration does, they should have no problem proving this stuff in court.
Tomi?
Well, I would just say if Democrats, I started out with it, Alex, and I'm going to continue on it. If Democrats really want to die on the hill of bringing back plane loads of criminal, illegal alien gang members.
But you haven't proven that they're criminals.
Please.
That's the problem. Like, look, I will be the first one to say if there is a criminal, if there's a gang member in this country, someone who has committed any crime, big or small, get him out. Sure, I'll absolutely concede that. We don't need criminals in this country. But if you're talking about somebody who you don't know because you haven't afforded them due process, then you can't just make that claim.
Well, again, I will say it was actually Prince George County that labeled this person a gang member, and he is in fact an illegal alien. But we can go anecdotes aside. We can argue over the Maryland father all day long. I'd be happy to do it. I've done a deep dive into this particular case. But the fact remains, President Trump is not only securing our border, but he is deporting criminal, illegal aliens. If Democrats want to stand in the way of that, and they want to tell their constituents, hey, vote for us in the midterms, vote for us in 2028, we'll make sure that the criminal aliens come back. Far be it from me to stand in your way. Continue that message. Best of luck with it.
And if Republicans want to run on, hey, we can.
Let me make that clear. That skipping that's going on, that's not me. I don't know why whoever edited this is doing these weird jump cuts. Let me make sure it's not. Let me see it.
Fact remains, President Trump is not only securing our border, but he is deporting criminal, illegal aliens. If Democrats want to stand in the way of that, and they want to tell their constituents, hey, vote for us in the midterms, vote for us in 2028, we'll make sure that the criminal aliens come back. Far be it from me to stand in your way. Continue that message. Best of luck with it.
Okay, so yeah, that's whoever edited this. They're making these weird jump cuts. I don't know what that is. But that ain't me, people.
If Republicans want to run on, hey, we can disappear you with no due process, far be it for me to stand in your way. If Republicans want to turn the United States into Russia, where we disappear political opponents with zero due process, sending them to foreign gulags somewhere, if that's really what you're running on behind the banner of the Party of Law and Order, be my guest.
All right, I don't think we're going to get together on that one.
Well, who's talking about banishing people for political differences? No one's talking about that. Are we shipping off American citizens? Are we starting to now take left-wing citizens that are actual citizens born, raised here, or at least at the very least here legally? And I want to reiterate that illegal immigrants aren't citizens here. Of course, he has to compare it to Russia. Like, that's what's going on here. We're sending people off to gulags just because of political differences. That's not what's going on. Joe Biden and the Democrats allowed 10 million or more people to cross here illegally. Now we have to get all those people out of here. That's what's going on here. I don't know why that's so complicated, but like Tommy said, if this is the hill they want to die on, then yeah, keep going. Keep showing that you learned absolutely nothing from the 2024 election. Go ahead. I'm all for it. If you want the Republicans and the right-wingers to keep winning elections, guys, this is how you do it. Keep defending illegal immigrants. Keep saying, no, actually, we need to stay here. They need to stay here. They are entitled to be here. Keep arguing that. Give this video a like if you liked it. And if you really liked it, if you want to see more of Tommy doing her thing, if you want to see more of Brian Tyler Cohen making a jackass out of himself, and if you like just seeing in debates in general, political debates, culture war debates, even some religious debates, I got a whole slew of content like that on my channel that I think you'll enjoy.